AITA for letting my daughter be hungry and not ordering for her at a fast food place. My daughter is 15 and she has social anxiety. She is in counseling for it and not meds, not needed. The rule in our household is that if you want fast food when we are out, you pay for it with your own money. If you don't have McDonald's money, you aren't going there. I also don't allow eating in the car, so we stop at places to eat. We had to go out and do some errands. I told her to grab something to eat beforehand, but she said she wasn't hungry. We go on our errands and halfway through she wants to stop by Wendy's. I pull in and tell her to go order. I will get a seat. She comes back a few minutes later and tells me she can't order. She doesn't want to talk to the cashier at the front of the store. I told her she needs to order and we will head out. She asked me to order and I told her no. We sit for about 10 minutes when I tell her it's time to go. She in short is pissed and my wife is also upset I didn't order for her, that I let her go hungry. I find this stupid. I didn't starve her for days. It was 4-hour outing. AITA? Edit. For those asking, yes, her counselor has told us she needs to start doing this stuff on her own. This was low risk. She literally gave the example of ordering food without our help. I also ran through a script with her at the table but she wouldn't do it.
AITA for having a go at my boyfriend when he ate the last of my food while I was in the bathroom? Not the a hole. So, my boyfriend, 24M, and I, 24F, went to a restaurant for only our second time eating out together. This week has been really rough at work, and I asked him to go out for food, saying I needed a pick-me-up. I mentioned I wasn't super hungry since I had already eaten, but I was really looking forward to having some dumplings and soup. I even talked about how excited I was for the dumplings during the drive there. When we ordered, I made it clear that I only wanted 4 dumplings and some soup. My boyfriend ordered 2 large mains for himself since he has a bigger appetite. When the food arrived, I shared my soup with him and tasted a bite of his food, but I was mostly focused on my dumplings. When my dumplings came, I ate one before I needed to run to the bathroom. When I got back, he had eaten both of the remaining dumplings. I was really upset because I had been looking forward to them and only got to eat one. I told him how disappointed I was and called him selfish, saying he never thinks of me. I asked him to pay for how much he ate since I had specifically wanted those dumplings. I don't want to make a big deal out of it, but I feel like he should have asked before just taking them, especially since I had expressed how excited I was. AITA for getting upset, calling him out for being selfish and asking him to pay more?
Top comments.
Who eats someone else's food without asking? That's ridiculous and rude. I hope you ordered some more dumplings and ate them before leaving the restaurant. NTA.
I didn't want to eat more because I was annoyed, but I'll make sure I get them and hoard it.
If this is just your second time going out, meaning this is him in a new relationship acting his best, I can't dare to think how he will be down the line. Why are you even mentioning asking him to pay more? He should have not asked you to pay anyway. It's not just being a gentleman, he was actually responsible for most of the bill.
AITA for telling people not to eat the food at my sister's wedding. My husband, 27 meters, and I, 26F, were married 8 months ago. We had a big wedding with lots of food and drinks and people. I knew we would likely have leftovers, so had arranged for them to be donated to the soup kitchen we sometimes work with. However, my mom went behind my back and took most of it with her. I didn't really know what happened to the food. Until now. My sister Callie, 30F, got married over the long weekend. She didn't want to mess with any of the planning and knowing how my mom was during my wedding decided to let our mom take over the whole thing. All we had to do was show up where we were told and party. The ceremony was beautiful, but it was when the buffet was revealed that I noticed something odd. The food looked eerily familiar, like, identical to what I had for my wedding except for a little more dried out and sad. I found an opening and went to ask my mom about it, where she happily told me she saved a fortune by unfreezing the food from my wedding to serve to the guests now. I was horrified and immediately voiced my concerns about safety. She got upset and said I was acting like a snob and should be happy the food wasn't going to waste. I argued that it was never going to be wasted, but she wouldn't hear it. I didn't want to make a scene, but was worried about people getting sick, so snuck off to see my sister. She was horribly embarrassed, mentioned that mom said something about saving money but didn't question it because she didn't want to foot the bill like I had. She told me not to eat the food and thanked me for the warning. From there, my husband and I discreetly started telling some guests to be wary of the food, and the rest of the night was fine. My mom caught some flack for being cheap, but I've also been catching heat. Some of our relatives have been saying that I intentionally made my family look bad, and that the food was fine as it was frozen and then defrosted for the wedding. They say no one would have known if I didn't make a stink over it. I don't know if I did anything wrong. I could use some help and would like to know if I should apologize. AITA? Edit. I'm getting a lot of repeat questions, so I figured I'd post here. My wedding had about 200 guests. My husband has a large family, and we intentionally planned for more people to come and knew that a lot wouldn't for one reason or another, so knew we'd likely have leftovers and wanted to be smart about it. My sister and her husband have been together for about 10 years. They recently decided to get married for tax reasons and wanted to do a courthouse wedding, but my mom begged her to let her do an event. So, she had a small wedding with only 50 people. My sister hates planning and people, so she let my mom do everything. Have y'all ever heard of garage freezers? They're super common where I'm from. AITA if my boyfriend made a meal and asked me how it was and I said fine. So my boyfriend made chicken breast with some white rice, a salad with garlic, and we had some pickles and beetroot on the side, from jars. And we sit down and he says, "How is it?" And I said fine. There's nothing special. Everything tastes as it should. And he got upset and said he added extra garlic in the lettuce and soy sauce on the breast. We both said we couldn't taste that. And I said I am not used to making comments about food like he is and his family. When we eat with his mother, everyone has to say something along the lines of how delicious. This is so tasty. Yum. At every meal. And in my family, we probably find that behavior a bit fake. We just sit down and talk about other things, and if there was something new in the food, then that would be a normal question to ask how it was. So he got really upset because I should have just said, "It's great" or "It's good" instead of a normal and not very enthusiastic, "It's fine. Everything tastes as it should." And he proceeded to pick his plate up and left to eat in the office. I don't feel like partaking in a family tradition. I don't feel it's natural. I feel like I am forced to say something I don't care about it or don't believe in. It's chicken breast and white rice. I mean, AITA for not making a bigger deal out of a simple meal? Is he overreacting, or should I just be fake and oblige and say it's really tasty? Every single fucking meal. AITA for not eating food made for me on a date because I'm picky? Not the a whole. I, 24F, am a single mom of an 8-year-old. I was in a bad relationship as a teen, which led to me being pregnant. I haven't exactly dated since, maybe been out on a few dates. My daughter has a condition called ARFID. It means she has a very restricted diet, and it is very much connected to her ASD. I don't force her to eat certain things that are her unsafe foods. Since her diagnosis, I've been quite sure I might have it too, but I cook for us both and am self-sufficient, so it doesn't bother me day to day enough to think about it. Anyway, about a month ago I went on a date, to which we went out to dinner, and it was amazing. He was so open to meeting my daughter in the future and being a family man. I only do serious relationships, so yes, this is stuff that was discussed on the first date lol. The second date was a week ago. I went over to his place, not for anything weird, just to watch a movie. He then made dinner. Don't get me wrong, it looked amazing, but I felt awful telling him I actually couldn't eat it. Usually if something is an unsafe food for me, such as melted cheese, vinegar, I'll still choke it down to be polite, and just vomit and cry later. But he had put my one hard no in there. MAYO. I hate it, but more importantly I'm actually just allergic to eggs. Pretty severely. He knew this, as I told him on the first date. He was cool with this on the date. Once he gave me the food, I apologized so much, but I couldn't eat it. He replied with, "Once we get you past this MAYO thing, my daughter's name can get over her crap too." I was pretty mad about that comment, and snapped back that I'm not eating his gross food and to not talk about my daughter like that. He apologized instantly, saying that's not what he meant and that it was a stupidly rude joke. I said I was sorry for calling his food gross. It actually looked really good. We ordered some makas and I went home soon after. He seemed okay. About an hour later, I texted him that I had a lot of fun and sorry about the situation. He said it's fine, just didn't have to be such a dick about it. I was confused. We went home happy. I apologized some more, and he brought back up me saying it was gross and refusing to eat it. He was completely ignoring the allergy part of it and saying, "You really need to get over this, Cass. It's childish and it's not the way you raise a kid." Things like that. I know being picky is annoying, but I don't feel like I did anything too wrong. Am I the asshole?